bruh. Oh man. So we back in the mine, got our pickaxe swinging from side to side, side to side. This task a grueling one, hope to find some diamonds tonight, diamonds tonight. Heads up, you hear a sound, turn around and look up. Total shock fills your body. Oh no, it's you again. I can never forget those eyes. Cause baby tonight, the creepers trying to steal our stuff.
What's going on, dudes? It's me, Mr. M here, a dude with attitude, bringing you the Detroit Become Human review, my honest thoughts and opinions on this series, and just the game in general. I'm going to be going over topics such as the gameplay, the graphics, the story, the character, and overall, if it's something you should buy immediately and play now, or just wait on. Oh, and also, I'm just going to go on mine and say, there is going to be spoilers. So, like I said, we're going to start with the weakest points of this game and the reasons why not to buy it, because honestly, this is a very big one, but still, I'd recommend this game, is the gameplay. The gameplay is very lackluster, it's very minimal. It's kind of like what I'm doing right now, just it's like flipping through a book. It's more just observing what happens than actually making it happen. You know, it's a lot of just choose this, watch it happen, think, choose another option. It's not always focused on constant action and constant like feedback from your choice. It's always just watching and observing because it's a story-based game, and I think that is expected from a game like this.
I identify the security system. I think we'll be able to deactivate it.
But then there are also these moments like this where you kind of get your own free open area to explore, and the gameplay can be massive in some ways, but not nearly as big as some other titles. But there still can be this more choice of option in seeing what's happening and having more choices of gameplay of you actually walking around, seeing the world, and seeing what's going on. But still very lackluster. But from a game like this, where it's mainly story, mainly supposed to be just you watching it and just sitting down for an hour playing through it, well, longer depending on the title, but it's meant to just be more of an experience than it is actual like gameplay and having a lot of like, what's the word, action. It's not very like, it's not constant action, the gameplay is very minimal. That's basically what I'm trying to say. The gameplay is very little, you don't see a lot of it, but Marcus, there can be parts where sometimes it is fun. So, the gameplay, for the most part, is the weakest point. Overall though, and still, the gameplay is very lackluster and can be boring at sometimes, which really hinders the game, which is why I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 5, because it's just very disappointing, and it can be boring at sometimes to even play the game in general. I know how I said in the beginning of the video there was going to be like 5 topics I was going to organize this all into, but it's probably just going to get down to 3 since graphics I can just combine into one big thing about level design, how the game performs, how the game actually looks. So that is what I'm going to do. But anyways, this game, for the time it came out in 2018, it looks gorgeous, and it does very well with what it needs to do, and it looks beautiful and stunning at points. Almost all the time. No, yeah, let me change that. Almost all the time it looks beautiful and stunning. With the snow, and how the night can look, and how the rain, the reflection, and how it all comes off with the faces and the face reactions. The characters feel real, and it feels alive. That's my point. But there are some times, though, where the game can have performance issues and bug out a bit with the way that the game acts and performs, and how the way it works. Like, I remember playing through this game because the playthrough on the channel, that was like my 5th or 4th playthrough of the game. I remember, I think, crashing 3 or 4 times during one session of sitting down and trying to play and just enjoy the game, and it was really annoying. And I don't know what it is. I don't know. I don't think it's me, because I've also looked into it and I've heard and I've read about it and tried to study it a little bit. Apparently this game does have some time crashing issues, and I've noticed that a lot with some PS4 exclusive titles. I'm not sure if it's the hardware or just like how the game's made, but the performance can kind of be meh, but mainly just with crashes. But like I said, that was the only time I experienced. Just for some reason, I had one really bad day where the game just kept crashing. Or maybe it's just my bad luck and I'm just rambling on for no reason. I don't know. But looks, overall, and performance, and how the world looks and how the world is designed, it's an honest 4 out of 5 because the graphics, the game looks gorgeous. Like, it looks beautiful with the night and rain. I've said this before, I'm just rambling at this point now, but it looks gorgeous. There can be issues with the game and crashing and stuff, but it looks fine. And sometimes the textures can take some time to load and they look weird, but overall, most of the time, 90% of the time, it's gonna look fantastic. And finally, the biggest reason, and honestly, this reason's pretty huge on why you should get this game, is the story, and the world, and the characters, and honestly, this may seem surprising, the replay value that is in this game, surprisingly, it being a linear story game. It is, in fact, not even remotely linear with the actual story. There are many choices and many different outcomes with how the story can play out. If you've seen the playthrough, I pretty much was pacifist with Marcus, and with Connor I made him turn deviant, which, with the deviant part of Connor, it's really just kind of a straight line once you do that. But if you stay to remain a Sheen, there's a lot of ways where you can try to please Hank, but also try to get the mission done, or straight up just freaking kill Hank, and just take him out. Allison and Kara, their story is a bit more linear, because you only really get a lot of freedom with that until the very end of the game and the end of it, because other than that there isn't really much, because it all leads to the same spot. But Connor, there's also a lot of options. He's kind of like that in the beginning where it's kind of linear, but there's a lot more options with him, like sooner than with Kara and Alice. Overall though, with story and everything, with the characters and what happens, and also, strangely enough, even with a linear game like this, there are lots of options, and there is honestly a lot of replay value to this game with the different endings, the collectibles where you earn points and you can unlock them in the collection tab of the game, which is outside the game, where you can review art and look at models of the characters that they had, and like kind of like fan art and fan music that they had for the game, for players that went in more depth with the game and earn those points by getting the different endings and doing all that stuff. There is a lot of replay value, and there is a lot of value in this game, but there are definitely its weaker points where sometimes it just feels like you're watching a movie more than actually playing the game. But even with the game's lack of gameplay in many aspects, the story is still very much worth it, and it's still very much fun to play at points. But again, it can get boring because sometimes it can feel like it is just a movie. But still, I'd highly recommend it if you are anyone interested in story type games. But if you're not, and you're more of the classic COD boy that loves their shooters, run-of-the-mill shooters, I would not recommend this title at all to anyone like that. But for anyone that does enjoy a story and that does enjoy playing a game like this, like any other games like this, like if you've played Heavy Rain, that's a title very similar to something like this, but arguably in my opinion I like this better than Heavy Rain, because I feel like there's more choices and it's more options, and also it has more replay value. Don't get me wrong, Heavy Rain is good, but I just prefer Detroit. But again, at the end of the day, this is just my opinion, this is just my thoughts, and you can take this review with what you leave it as, and you can think about it, and you can use it to decide if you are going to buy or play the game. Or you can just be like, I'm gonna get it no matter what, or I'm not gonna get it no matter what. At the end of the day, it's your choice. But overall, though, out of story, I'd give a 5 out of 5. Graphics, 4 out of 5. Gameplay, 2.5. My opinion, this title rounds up to be a 4 out of 5 stars because the story's really good. The game looks good. Has, in my opinion, some performance issues, at least on my end, and from my research that I did, it looked like there were some performance issues, like earlier in the game when it came out. It looked like it was kind of buggy. It's not even buggy, but like it crashed, like I said. And in some areas the high lack of gameplay, but the story and the characters and the replay value really are what drives this home, being a really good game.
Thanks, but I know where to go.
That's just my opinion on it. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I'll see you all in the next one.